Okay, for problem number 2, we're given a rational function, and we're given a partial graph of that rational function, and they're kind of asking questions about it. I just don't know what the questions are at this point, but I do see the graph, and I want to go through the questions. Hopefully there'll be some questions that I can answer about it. So what's the first thing to do? What is or are the y-intercepts? I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's write this down. And I'm going to say y equals, and that would be 2 over x minus 1 cubed. And we have a picture too, by the way. How to get a y-intercept? You set x to be 0. Just set x equal to 0. And if you do that, what do you get? Well, you get y equals 2 over minus 1, which would be minus 2. So the y-intercept is going to be where x is 0, y would be minus 2. So that's the y-intercept. Now, I'm looking at it. I see that. Someone says, well, you need the work to do that. It's nice to do work. We want you to do work, all right? And then what's next, and what are the x-intercepts? Well, I got to be honest with you. Looking at it, I know there's no x-intercepts. You may wonder why that is. If I look at it and I set y to be 0, let me write that down for you. That's looking for an x-intercept. What would you get? 0 equals 2 over x minus 1 cubed. And there's no way that could be 0, by the way. The top number is 2. No matter what, the bottom number is never gonna be 0. It might get close to 0, but it's never going to be 0. So I'm going to say none. All right? I'll put my work down. This one over here was 0 minus 2. This one over here is none. All right? Put a box in that, and put a box in that. Get the next question, see what it says. Oh, the domain of it. Well, that's pretty simple. The domain of this guy over here, just looking at it, is going to be all the real numbers, but x cannot be 1 because that would division with 0. So if you want to write it as an interval, you can write down minus infinity up to 1, union 1 off to infinity. By the way, looking at the picture, I see that as well. All right, I definitely see that. I see there's something going on at x equals 1. All right, so I'm going to say the domain of it, again, minus infinity up to 1, union 1 off to infinity. If you prefer, you could also write this down as, how did you do that before? Did I write that down? Yeah, real numbers, x not equal to 1. I did that. Make sure I did that. That's real numbers, x not equal to 1. I put a box in that. All right, it's up to you. What's the equation of the horizontal asymptote? Well, I got to look at this. And the horizontal asymptote is the limit as x goes towards infinity of f of x. And what do you get there? Well, looking at it, the bottom grows without bound. The top's always 2, so that would be 0. Let me look at the limit as x goes to minus infinity. Should put some work down, by the way. That also equals 0. So the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. I'm going to go back over here and write that down, and we'll look at the key later. All right, next up is the vertical asymptote. The vertical asymptotes are going to occur, or I should say the candidate is going to occur when the denominator is 0. So let's get rid of this. Kind of done with all this business here. We just get through all that work. I did write my answers down, but I'm kind of done with that work. And I want to write down the work for the vertical asymptote. Now, by the way, I'm looking at the picture. All belief is it's at 1. But let's write this down. Limit as x goes towards, let's see, 1 from the left, f of x. I wonder what that is. And the limit as x goes to 1 from the right of f of x. Well, I got some troubles here. I want to point out, I know it's dividing by 0, so it's a blow-up problem. But for the most part, I'd like to know the sign to the left and right of 1. So to the right of 1, it's going to be a positive number. No matter what numbers I choose to the right, it's going to be positive. And to the left of 1, it's going to be negative. That's the sign analysis. So what do I know? If I'm to the left of 1, it's going to be negative. And remember, it's getting closer and closer to 0. It's going to blow up then. And to the right of 1, it's going to be positive. And again, I'm getting close to 0. It's going to be a blow up. So what do I now know? I know there's a vertical asymptote by my work, by the way, and also by the picture, x equals 1. Whoops, not x equals x. X equals 1. Let me go back over here, write that down for you. X equals 1. Is there any other question? What's the range of it? That's a more difficult question, by the way. But I'm looking at the picture, and I see it. What do I see? The range, just looking at the picture, by the way, it's a more difficult question, is going to be from minus infinity. Again, it's pointing down forever. It goes back up, and it gets really close to 0, but it never touches it. And then again, it goes above the 0, never touches it, off to infinity. All right? So I'm going to say minus infinity, up to 0, union 0 to infinity. All right, let's look at the key, see how we did. Did I get A? Let's take a look. 0 minus 2. You know what? I think I erased that. I shouldn't have done that. But I did get 0 minus 2. Remember, we talked about right in the beginning of that. We set the x to be 0. So I did get that. I just erased it. I don't know why I erased it. Let's see. No x-intercepts. I did state that. None. Let's go to C. C says all real numbers except 1. That's written over there like this. I do like the intervals, but however you answer is fine. All right? Let's take a look at D. D, it says you need to take two limits. We did do that. And we said the horizontal less is y equals 0. We did that. And we did these limits, by the way. All right? What's the last one going to be? Not the last one, but the next one. Vertical, I'm saying 1. And we did put both of these limits down, by the way. Hope you can recall that. All right? And those limits, I think you're still written down. Yeah, I got them written down. All right? From the left, it goes to minus infinity, and for right, positive infinity. All right? Those are written down for you. All right, what's the other one going to be? The range of it. I'm pretty sure I wrote that down here. Minus infinity to 0, 0 to infinity. We're good to go. Not a bad problem, especially if they gave me the picture, by the way. It helped me a great deal. Thank you.